Are you looking to get started in the goose management business using Flight Control Plus? It's humane, eco-friendly, and the only effective way at moving and repelling geese. We're here today to show you how to build and grow your goose management business. Let's get started. Why do the geese need to be managed? There are an estimated 8 million geese in the United States today. The 8 million geese is comprised of resident geese and migratory geese. However, a vast majority of those are resident geese. The demand is here already. Their population is doubling every 3 to 5 years, and geese are federally protected under the Migratory Bird Act. Geese are becoming more and more of a nuisance as they get more used to living close to human beings. The number of goose attacks is on the rise, and the messes they create are in the spotlight more now than ever before as they expand in population numbers and start living in more suburban and urban areas. Why are the geese here? Geese prefer young, succulent, and healthy grass areas. Geese roost and feed where they feel the safest. Typically, this is close to ponds or other water sources where they're quick to escape to safety. Also in open fields where they can see a long distance away. They also like to feed where they see other geese feeding. But the biggest reason the geese are here is us. People have created the ideal environments for geese to thrive and survive. Suburban areas near water, usually retention ponds, put them away from their natural predators and hunters. Not too far into the past, Canada geese were almost extinct, and despite more than 3 million geese being killed each year from hunting alone, the population is still growing exponentially, and there's no sign of slowing down. One of the biggest problems with the Canada geese is the messes that they create. One goose will consume up to 3 pounds of grass per day and deposit 2 pounds of it right back out. Geese can destroy the grass through feeding, causing bare spots, which leads to poor root structure, and that can cause erosion. The unhealthy grass promotes weeds and other unwanted vegetation to prosper. Their feces contribute to high nitrogen and fecal coliform counts, which, if it gets in adjacent waterways and ponds, can be dangerous for other humans or animals to use. Geese also select multiple daily feeding sites, which spread their mess out over a large area in the course of one day. It's not uncommon to have pictures like the left after a flock of geese have visited your property. Droppings all over the sidewalk and grass, and the grass left bare after a day of a flock feeding. To be able to effectively repel the geese, you must first understand their behavior. Geese will select a site based on 2 basic criteria: food and safety. Their behavior can be temporarily changed by introducing a threat or a warning. However, the geese will quickly adapt to any threat that doesn't have a consequence. There are only 2 ways to effectively modify a goose's behavior, and that is to introduce a threat with a consequence or to take away their food. People have tried many things to get rid of their geese. There's harassment, which is the use of pyrotechnics, sonic noisemakers, reflective tape, strobes, remote control devices, or even drones. People can use dogs, usually trained border collies that chase the geese from site to site. There's other repellents, typically taste and odor aversion agents. You can try habitat modification using fencing, wires, or lines. Populations controls such as hunting, egg addling, puncturing, or oiling. And also the use of threats or predators, typically fake owls, dead goose decoys, or other predator decoys like swans. All of these methods of scaring geese will work for a short period of time. However, either the product doesn't work 24/7, like dogs for instance, or the geese will quickly become accustomed to any threat that doesn't have a consequence. There are many goose control techniques, but Flight Control Plus is the only truly effective method of repelling and moving geese because it delivers a strong threat and a strong consequence. Flight Control Plus works in two ways. First, there's a visual warning. Second is an anti-feeding warning. Flight Control Plus absorbs light in the UV spectrum, which the geese can see. Geese can tell the difference between turf treated with flight control and turf not treated. Second, there's an anti-feeding warning. Once the geese sample the turf treated with Flight Control Plus, they experience a strong digestive irritation. Now, it's important to point out that the geese are not harmed by the product. It's simply the feeling like you and I would have if we had heartburn after a meal. Geese quickly learn to not feed on a grass treated with Flight Control Plus, and they are forced to find another site to feed. Unlike other methods of repelling geese, Flight Control Plus takes away the goose's two basic needs, food and safety. The visual threat of seeing it on the grass and the digestive consequence of the minor irritation leads to a learned behavior modification, making Flight Control Plus truly the only effective method of moving and repelling geese. Flight Control Plus is an advanced repellent technology. Archeon Life Sciences, working with the USDA Wildlife Services, initiated a search for a goose control product that would be long-lasting and weatherproof, will not wash off with the rain, snow, or sleet, one that is odorless and virtually undetectable by people, one that is people, pet, and eco-friendly. It works without harming humans, wildlife, vegetation, or water. It's persistent, works 24/7, and most importantly, one that would effectively modify the goose's habitat and behavior. Are you ready to get started in the goose management business? It's easy, profitable, and in high demand. Let's find out more. Here are just a few reasons to get started with goose control business. There is already a need to effectively and humanely move the geese. The goose control business can be very profitable and tends to have high margins. There's a very high customer contract renewal rate. Over 90% of customers renew from year to year. The market already exists and is expanding as the goose populations continue to rise. The existing demand is large enough to achieve instant profitability for a standalone operation or even as a new service for your existing company. You could make as much as $1,500 gross profit from each 1 acre account this year offering goose control. This would require about 10.5 hours of spraying. Let's discuss how. So let's talk about how we can make $1,500 profit from just one 1 acre account. First, we need to make a few assumptions. The average charge for Flight Control Plus application per 1 acre is around $400. A yearly program should include 7 total applications. Maybe more, maybe less, depending on your geographical area, but we're going to go with 7 applications for our estimate here. Let's assume labor cost of your sprayer technician is $20 an hour, and you can purchase the material in a 2.5 gallon jug at our manufacturer's suggested retail price from one of our distributors. 7 applications at $400 an acre is $2,800, minus labor and material comes out to just more than $1,500 per acre. If you could get 5 1 acre counts this season, that'd be $7,600 worth of profit. 5 3 acre counts, $22,000, and 5 5 acre counts this year could earn you $38,000 in profit. So what would you need to get started in the goose management business? First, you would need a spray license to spray turf. If you don't already have one, it's usually pretty simple to acquire. You would need a truck and possibly a trailer to haul your equipment. If you don't already have them, a good commercial sprayer and/or a good backpack sprayer. Backpack sprayers can be good for smaller areas or properties with more complicated terrains. You would need to develop a solid business plan to approach both commercial and residential properties with quotes. You would also have to spend some time prospecting for customers and doing some advertising, building awareness of your new service. Who are your potential customers? Like the geese, they're everywhere. If you're already in the green industry, they could be a lot of the customers that you already have. Typical customers are corporate sites, office parks, athletic fields, municipalities, parks and recreation departments, colleges and universities, public and private school systems, churches and cemeteries, campgrounds, waterfront properties, high-end homeowners, and homeowners associations. Here are a couple tips to sell goose control. First, you need to build the value in goose control. You can build the public and consumer awareness. A lot of people are not sure that such a product like ours exists. Build value in dramatically reducing the goose droppings. Build value in humane, effective, and eco-friendly results from Flight Control Plus. Build value in Flight Control Plus because it works 24/7, unlike other deterrents. Also, build value in selling only yearly application programs. Like other types of lawn or pest control businesses, Flight Control needs to have yearly programs and multiple applications. Customers also need to have realistic expectations. You should talk to your customers and understand their problems and concerns, and tailor your programs around them. Remind your customers that this is a yearly program. The geese will return to untreated turf. Doing one application will make you and us look bad. The geese will come back if the turf is not treated. You also need to caution people about hand feeding geese. One of the goals is to remove their food source to get the geese to leave the property. If people are hand feeding the geese, they don't sample the turf. It leads to more problems down the road. Here we see a year in the life of a typical Canada goose. If you're getting into the goose business, it's very important to understand their habits and behaviors and to be able to effectively plan your goose control strategy based on them. One of the biggest goals is to prevent the geese from nesting in the early spring. If you can prevent them from nesting in the early spring, the bird pressure in the summer months will be reduced dramatically. Another important application is the late fall application. Since Flight Control Plus will stay on the grass all winter long as the grass is dormant, it's important to get a good application once the grass has started to go dormant. This will prevent the geese from wintering on your property and will make it much easier to prevent them from nesting in the spring. So where should you apply Flight Control Plus? First, you should observe the property. Define the drop zone. The drop zone is the active feeding area, and it will be well marked with goose droppings. You always want to treat the entire drop zone and a little bit of the area just beyond it. Sometimes you won't have to treat the entire property. If there's an area of the property without goose droppings, you probably won't need to treat that spot. Geese are fairly specific with where they like to roost and feed, and this area is always well marked by goose droppings. You can start a program at any time throughout the year, but the number one goal is to prevent them from nesting in the spring. If you remove their food source, they are forced to leave the area in search of a new site. Here are a few tips to achieve the best results from your application of Flight Control Plus. First, mow the grass prior to any application and remove any heavy clippings, dried feces, leaves, or other debris before applying. Never apply to wet turf. Do not apply Flight Control after a rain or to grass with dew, frost, or snow. Only use a fan tip nozzle. The goal is to create the smallest possible droplet. We're looking to create a fine mist that covers the turf entirely and evenly. Never apply Flight Control in windy conditions to avoid drift. We don't want the product getting onto any unwanted surfaces such as cars, walkways, or decks. Do not apply within 3 hours of rainfall or an irrigation cycle. Lastly, do not walk through or drag your hoses over the sprayed area before it has had a chance to completely dry on the turf. We do not want to remove the product by walking it off the turf. Use 1 gallon per acre for the first and last applications of the year. All applications in between can be reduced at a 1/2 gallon per acre rate. The amount of water mix required per acre varies from 7 to 20 gallons per acre depending on your equipment. As always, please make sure your sprayer is properly calibrated prior to any applications. The geese are here to stay, and their populations continue to climb. Become a part of a business with limitless potential, and get started in the geese management business today. Please contact us for more information. We can help you with marketing ideas, promotional materials, or any other additional information to help you get started in the goose management business. For more information, you can visit our website, flightcontrol.com. You can send us an email, info@flightcontrol.com, or give us a call, 877-55-GEESE. Thank you.